It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview John Schiavo, who is a professional hockey player. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thanks for having me on.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play professional hockey?
I think just as a little kid, playing hockey in the street and always growing up playing roller hockey and then ice hockey, it was just such a passion of mine. Getting into it at such an early age, I knew I just loved the game so much. I always wanted to go pro, and luckily I did.
Of course, did you go pro straight from being a young age, or did you have a college that you went to play?
I ended up playing juniors, so that's 21 and under. And then, yes, I went right to the pros from there. So that was definitely exciting.
What was that experience like from you going juniors to, of course, straight to the pros versus skipping and going to college?
Definitely a tough transition, a lot harder going right from juniors to the pros. I think I made a decent transition. I was ready to be a professional, but gaining a couple of years in college might have been good for development and things like that. But for me, luckily it all worked out, and I liked the jump. It wasn't too bad for me.
What was your playing time like at Merritt?
Yes, so in Canada, in British Columbia, that was my last year before I went pro. It was by far one of the most beautiful places I've played. British Columbia, Canada is absolutely amazing. Our city was really small, tight community. We had great fans, and playing that year, I had one of my best years ever of junior. So getting ready for the pros, I really developed there a lot. Had great coaches, and they were really, really preparing us to get to the next level. And luckily for me, that was right to the pros.
What was it like playing for Macon?
Macon Mayhem in Georgia, yeah. So they gave me my first opportunity in the pros, along with the Missouri Mavericks. Small city, not a huge hockey community, but fun time down there, especially just to get some pro games under my belt.
How did it feel to, of course, play in the ECHL for the Missouri Mavericks?
That was awesome. That was the highest level I had got to at the time. Had a small and good chance to perform at a young age. I was the youngest on the team. It was a good experience. Played as best I could, and then sadly the season was coming to an end there, so I only got to play a couple games for them.
What did it feel like to sign that contract with them?
Oh, it was really good. Being part of the ECHL and having an affiliate NHL team at the time, it was the New York Islanders. I was in 2 Islander camps, so it was just so exciting to be a part of the organization and the affiliation and to play under them and give it all I had. And obviously being at that level was the best I'd played at yet, and it was super exciting.
Of course, while you were affiliated with the Islanders, did you ever get called up per game to go play with the Islanders?
I never did. I never had that opportunity during the season. I played 3 total exhibition games, like inter squad games in Islander camps over 2 years, and that was a blast. But that was the only times I got to put on the Islander jerseys were in the summer.
What did that feel like to put on the jerseys, of course, during the camps?
Oh, it's incredible. It's the highest level you could dream of playing at. Being in the National Hockey League and being in those camps was such a huge honor for me, especially coming from Long Island, New York. Watching all these guys on television, knowing a lot of the staff, being local, and putting on that Islanders jersey was, a dream come true. And it honestly led me and helped me so much throughout my pro career.
While, of course, playing with the Mavericks, what were some of your accomplishments?
Some of them were just playing at that high level with so many good players. A couple of players moved on a couple of years later to play in the NHL. So playing side by side with them and seeing how close you are to moving up the ladder and being at the top league. Some of my accomplishments were a couple points there and playing in front of an incredible community, incredible fan base. Those are some of my biggest accomplishments and memories for sure. It's an awesome city to play in.
What was it like, of course, playing with the Huntersville?
So playing for the Havoc was some of my best years, some of my best memories. I've played there the longest in my pro career. I absolutely love Huntsville. We had a huge championship win in 2019. I only played half the season that year in Huntsville, and we ended up still winning the championship, which was one of the biggest ice hockey accomplishments I've by far ever had. Playing down there with another incredible fan base, tight-knit community. Nothing better than winning a championship in Huntsville.
Can you talk about, of course, the championship you won and what that was like?
Oh, it was crazy. We had such a tight team, tight-knit team. We knew we could go really far. We were battling through the whole season, especially when I got there. There was a little bit of movement in the team and the lineup and things like that. And then eventually we nailed it down, grinded it out the rest of the season, and came home with a huge victory for the Huntsville Havoc. So 2019, huge accomplishment down there.
What was it like whenever you got to put on the Huntsville Havoc's jersey with your name on the back?
Oh, an honor. Every pro game that I've ever played, it's incredible. You could kind of get goosebumps thinking about it. Just there's a lot of people out there that work so hard to make it to any pro level, to even maybe make it to a college. And for me to play for several years now in the minors, it's an absolute honor every time I get to put on the Wolf logo or any of the pro teams I've worn over the years. It's definitely a blessing.
Can you talk about, of course, what it was like playing with the Kansas City Mavericks?
Yeah, so playing with them, it was my second time around. Getting back at the higher level again was another huge accomplishment for me. I really want to stay at that ECHL level and prove that I can be there and deserve to be there. So going back there was awesome. Obviously, I knew a lot of faces. Was excited to be back, and then had a pretty decent run for myself, playing as well as I can with the opportunity that I had, and we ended up just coming short of the playoffs that year, sadly.
What were some of your accomplishments at Kansas City, and what was it like putting on that jersey?
So being at that level is the biggest accomplishment for me. Like I said, trying to prove myself there and stay there as long as I could to show my value. And playing in a city that they love hockey. They have the Chiefs right there, and they have the Royals baseball team right there, and they pack out the arena that we play in for the Mavericks. So nothing better than putting on a show for the fans in a tight-knit city that loves sports. So for me, just wearing that jersey and getting excited for home games was nothing like it.
What was it like playing for the Fayetteville Marksmen?
That was fun. They helped me develop and get back to Kansas City. I wasn't there too long. I started the season there and then ended up getting called up back to Kansas City Mavericks because my team was doing okay and our line was producing a lot of points. So it really helped me get back to the next level.
What were some of the things that you accomplished with the Ice Quakers?
So it was good down there. I was there really short stint, only a couple games. Beautiful Florida, cool rink. I liked putting on the jersey. Had a couple buddies on the team, but only played a handful of games down there.
What did you accomplish during your time with the Quaint City Storm?
Well, that was fun. Another team I had a lot of good buddies on. We were playing really well. Had a good start to the season. Had a great roommate, Dean Yakura. We were training really hard, and then we got on a little bit of a drought, and they wanted to shake things up a bit. So that's when I ended up getting traded back to the Huntsville Havoc, which I definitely didn't mind going back. I call it home in Huntsville.
Of course, when you got traded back to Huntsville, what was going through your head after you already know, obviously, you've been at Huntsville, you know, probably some of the teammates and stuff. What was that like coming back home moment like for you?
Oh, it was really exciting. I remember shooting a text in the team group chat saying I was coming down, and a lot of guys didn't know yet. I was happy to be back. I knew it was a tough decision when I decided to leave, but I thought it was right at the time. And then when I went back, it was perfect timing. And sadly, that was the year of the pandemic, so that season ended up getting cut short. But we were playing some awesome hockey. I was so happy to be back in Huntsville, and to hopefully finish a great year. And then sadly, just got cut a little short.
Of course, with the season getting cut short, what was it like this previous going into this coming up season? What are some of the things that you plan on accomplishing with the Huntsville?
Well, I guess we never know. Hopefully everything stays as safe as possible, and we get a full season in and can battle for a championship. I think that's what everyone dreams of, and I just pray and hope that everything in the world starts settling down, and this virus slows down. It was scary last season. A lot of people got sick playing, and a couple pauses in everyone's season. Not a lot of fans, so hopefully we could get back to normal here as soon as we can, and not have all these people really really sick and spreading this virus that is awful.
Can you talk about, of course, what happens when you do get traded? Do you know, of course, a few days before, or is it like you just know the day of?
Oh yeah, in a minute. You have no idea it's coming. Every time it's happened to me, it's been out of the blue. I never ever have found out days or weeks before. Never. Just as it happens, get called into the office usually, or a phone call telling you you're moving to a different city.
What is that feeling like whenever you do get to know, obviously, minutes before you get traded, that you're going to a different city?
I think most times you're a little nervous, and then partially a little bit excited. Obviously, if you're getting traded, you're usually getting traded out of a place that maybe you're not wanted as much to a team that wants you a lot. So I think if they're making the trade, they really want you there, and they have some confidence in what you're going to do. And most times I believe that I was traded just to, shake up the team or try to get a defenseman for a forward and things like that. So luckily, I don't think any of my trades were for bad reasons, but I think the teams I was going to needed some more offense or wanted a more offensive player like me to step in. And I've never minded, always showed up, and was really excited at the new team that wanted to pick me up.
Can you describe your playing style and what obviously you play like?
So I'm a forward, usually play on the wing, both wings, left or right. Really offensive, use my vision a lot, like making plays. Recently added and improved a lot of stuff in the defensive zone, penalty killing, and things like that. So I think I'm just trying to prove myself in all categories, not just being a high skilled offensive forward. Now I'm trickling in all the PKing and good D zone and showing that I could be an all around top player.
Can you talk about it? Of course, I've seen on Instagram you've done trick shots and stuff like that. What is that like doing those trick shots?
I love it. I have so much love doing it for the fans and showing all the kids there in the street or at the rink, how creative you can be. And I try to just let my creativity fly and just have fun doing it. And anytime I have a stick and a puck in my hand and I'm messing around and just getting out there and having fun, it's always nice to make these videos and, see everyone's reaction when I pull off a cool trick or, share with my buddies to see if they could pull it off too. So just for fun. And like I said, I love being creative and showing a bunch of kids out there what they could do with the puck.
What are some of your favorite trick shots that you have done for YouTube and obviously Instagram?
There's so many, hard to put tag on one, but I scored a really cool goal in New York Islanders prospect camp back in the day, 2015, I believe. It was at the Barclays Center, about 8,000 fans. I got selected to go in the shootout and scored the first one. I kind of picked up the puck, twirled it around, and then put it over the goalie's shoulder. A goal that I don't think many people had ever seen back then on the ice. And then since I scored that goal, I got to go again a couple minutes later and then pulled off another goal. I scored one-handed backhand that another one I hadn't seen many players pull it off then on the ice. And yeah, it was super cool. Like the reaction from everyone in the crowd, and even the teammates on my team in that scrimmage game, like were blown away. And I was just having fun, just trying to put on a show like usual, and ended up pulling them off and got a little viral on YouTube there for a little while, and definitely had some fun doing those.
Of course, with you doing trick shots and stuff for YouTube and obviously going viral and stuff, have you implemented some of those trick shots into your game in the professional game?
I always think about it. I scored a couple goals that were kind of fancy, but nothing absolutely mind blowing. Just a couple little trick goals. But I think it's definitely possible to do. I think if you do it, there might be some consequences with the other team. Maybe someone will try to take your head off next shift or something like that. But I think it's if it's a legal move and it's under the crossbar and you could pull it off with confidence. I mean, we've seen guys do it in the NHL over the past 2 seasons. So if there's a chance, I always might try it. But I think for the most part, I'm just trying to play a fun, creative game and keep the puck on the ice and shoot it like normal.
Of course, speaking about the NHL, do you have any future plans to maybe one day play in the NHL?
I mean, I think that's every pro player's dream. This year, hopefully, I'll be back in an NHL affiliated organization, and you never know. If you work your hardest and you get the right opportunities, you're only 2 steps away from the ECHL, the AHL, and the NHL. So you never know. It's definitely still a dream of mine, and I'm sure a lot of guys out there. So you never know. You gotta keep working.
Who are some players that you look up to in the league, whether it's the NHL, EHL, or any hockey?
Some of my favorite players to watch growing up and still watch and take their intangibles and put them into my game is definitely Sidney Crosby. He was always my favorite. Pavel Datsuk's another one. John Tavares. A lot of these guys that are really good leaders, really hard workers on the ice, and have a ton of skill. So those are the guys I really love watching and really, really, really always looked up to.
What is your game day routine and ritual like?
Nothing fancy. Usually we skate in the morning, so wake up, have some breakfast, maybe go on a walk, keep it pretty calm, and then after our skate, grab some lunch. I usually eat a variety of things, but most of the time it'll be like a pasta and chicken or rice and chicken. Fill up, get a nap, kind of hang out, stretch, get ready to go back to the rink for game time or get on the bus to head to another rink to play, and head to the game, play, and then come back, usually rest, get some good food, refuel, and then same thing again if we play the next day.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before playing professional hockey?
How hard it is to really make it and to stay at the highest level you can. I think a lot of people think it's easy and everyone gets to do it, but when you're finally in it and you play a lot of pro games, you realize how hard it is and how hard it is to be consistent every night and grind throughout the season and stay motivated and stay excited about every single day, because there's someone else always out there wanting to take your job and get an opportunity like you have. So I think the hardest thing is to stay in the league and work your tail off every single day to keep succeeding and hopefully go to the best level you can.
What advice would you give hockey players looking to make it into the professional hockey?
Train your butt off. Work as hard as you possibly can. When it comes to games, perform your best. Leave it all on the line. Be a team player. Be a good player. Coaches really, really want to see a good team player, not a selfish player. So I think that's some of the biggest advice I give to my students I train. Your attitude's everything, how you carry yourself on the ice and off the ice, and then especially being a good team player on the ice and not being selfish is huge.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
So you can find me on almost every single platform, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at JSchiavo44, JSCHIAVO 44. And then on Facebook, John Schiavo Hockey. And we also have our clothing line called Goodwood Hockey. So you can find that at goodwoodhockey.com, GOODWOODHOCKEY.com. or on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well.
Thank you again, John Schiavo, for your interview, and best of luck in your professional hockey career and your hockey business.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, John, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.